situationships, a physical relationship, occasional texting, and no commitment. That's how I refer to it. That's basically what it was, and that's certainly not what I was looking for, but it seemed to be the only thing I could find. Oh, man, people love to blame you as the woman. They love to blame. They just love to blame you. They love to say it's your fault. You did it to yourself. You were too picky. You were too focused on your career, which is absurd. You were, you were too this. You were too that. You weren't enough of this. I would do the same thing to myself for a long time, too. I would beat myself up and constantly be trying to find an answer for why I had ended up in this place, which isn't where I wanted to be. And
okay. Now, this is sad to me because I think she's being authentic in the sense that she did not want to wind up there, right? I think it's very clear that she, at least, has convinced herself and us that she did not want this path to work out this way. But you also see a refusal to take personal responsibility here. So I was feeling sorry for her. And then she says things like, well, the idea that I would be focused on my career and that would be a problem is just absurd. It's not absurd. It's not absurd. If you have some degree of self-awareness, it's not absurd. Because if you had your head buried in that career all of those years and you were given time to that career, you couldn't also be given time to a search for a man. And also that guys don't care about your career. So you're prioritizing something that guys don't prioritize in you. So you just have to be realistic about that. And I think oftentimes women will look at like, oh, what would I want in a woman, because they're thinking, well, what would I want in a man? And they don't step back and say, well, it's not what I would want. It's what guys want. And guys don't want the same things that I want. So I may be thinking that, oh, my career is such a, that's a top of the heap, gold star. And a guy's like, yeah, I don't care what you do. So this refusal to just accept what is and the differences between men and women leaves women very much alone. Does she look happy to you? No. She looks like she's a woman that has suffered quite a bit as a result of a lot of her own choices. She's choosing to put those out on guys. She's choosing to say, well, I blamed myself, but, people say I'm too picky. Well, were you? I don't know. I don't know her. Were you picky? Were you being very picky about the guys? Did you have an accurate perception of self? Were you one of those women out there like, I'm a 10, I'm a 10? I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. I don't know. But self-reflect, because it is a lot about you. It's not all on you, obviously. There's, other people that come into the mix here and play a role. Anytime you have an interaction between two people, it's a give and take. But if you're saying that you can't see why prioritization of a career for a woman could be a problem in terms of creating a delay in her finding someone, then you're just not being realistic. And refusal to take personal responsibility for those things is what gets women in trouble. And also women watching this, like, I don't want some 25-year-old who's buried deep in her career watching that video and having the lesson be like, oh yeah, see, she said it wasn't me. So I'm obsessed with my career, but no, you need to hear that it will upset the direction you're going in. It will create a delay and you might wind up like her. You might. Now, if that's okay with you, fine, but you can't be in two places at once. You can't. There was an interesting question that came up before we go to 350 today on Twitter. I think it was somebody had asked, I wish I had started. I won't be able to pull it up now anyway because I have my phone on airplane mode. But there was something a woman was saying like, can you be a career mom? Can you be career driven and be a good wife and mom at the same time? You can't do everything at once. Something is going to suffer. So something has to be the priority, right? If you decide, for example, me right now, it's a perfect example. Like I'm doing this show, right? And it's growing and it's doing great. But my priority is Hartley, my baby, and my husband and my family. That is number one for me. So that's why you don't see me on here every day. And that's why when I get invites to speak, if there's travel involved, I really weigh that because I don't like to leave my kid. That is number one. Now, do some components of my career trajectory take a little longer as a result of that or take a back seat? Yes, and I'm fine with that. Now, if I flipped it and every time somebody called me from LA or New York and said, oh, let's work together on this, and I ran, then maybe, I'd have, some more subs on the channel and my face would be here and I'd have a viral moment here. But who would suffer? My kid would suffer and my family dynamic would suffer. So that's not okay with me. So all I'm saying is You got to pick, you got to pick your priority, but just know something's going to suffer. You can't, this idea of like, oh, you can be everywhere all at once is complete garbage. It's only 24 hours in a day. Something has to be your priority. So can you have a career and be a good mom and what? Yes. But which one are you prioritizing? Is that kid in daycare? What are you doing? Something's going to have to give here. You just can't do it all. That's the honest answer that most of modern women and modern feminists won't tell you. Okay, let's go to 350 on that clip. This is where it gets sticky.
But this still bothers me that so many of us are in this boat. So many of us who are well-educated and well-traveled, and I would think that we have a lot to offer as women to a partner, but yet we've ended up here. And I kind of would like to figure out why that is. And I'm moving away from this idea that it's something wrong with us, which I thought for 20 straight years that it was something wrong with me, because there are so many women in this situation, talented and accomplished. I'm like, there's got to be something else going on.
Okay.
I'm not going to blame them.
What's going on is you're brain dead about it. That's what's going on. Your refusal to see that all the things you just cited are things guys don't care about. You have been spending the last 20 years building up a career, saying, oh, I want to be well-educated and well-traveled and accomplished, and a guy doesn't care about that stuff. I'm not saying you can't find a guy here and there that will, but the vast majority of men aren't looking at you and saying, oh, I want to decide whether I want to date her. Is she well-traveled? Is she accomplished? Is she well-educated? No, that's not what they're looking for. They're looking for, first of all, are they attracted to you? Are you feminine? Are you nurturing? Are you loyal? Are you committed? Do you have a softness to you? Are you peaceful to be around and happy and joyful and bring that energy into a home? So all of this stuff, and by the way, oftentimes all of this stuff she's talking about, not only is it not of interest to men, but it hardens you. Well-educated. What does that mean? That you went through a school system and then you went to graduate school? I didn't come out of graduate school softer. I came out harder and more tired and more aggravated. So just like it's changing you in the wrong ways. And it took me a while to really understand that. I was very lucky in the sense that I naturally, truthfully, wasn't somebody who embraced these high-powered, ambitious settings. And I know it's odd because you see The View and but I wasn't gunning for that. But these women who are gunning for corporate jobs and CEO titles and even the idea of well-traveled never appealed to me. It just sounded like a headache. It's like a lot to juggle when you're traveling. It's too much multitask. I'm like, I'm good to just be at home and open the window and look at the beautiful grass and water a plant. I'm a very simple woman. I like it. I like simplicity. And so all of these things that she was doing, well-traveled, and if anything, a guy's going to be like, oh, she traveled the world without me? I guess I don't have much left to show her. Oh, okay, she's well-educated. All right, fine. Cool. I guess I can hold a great conversation with her. Awesome. But maybe. Or has she been programmed in a weird way? Sometimes well-educated means that you've been indoctrinated. It's not even a plus to me anymore. So there's that. Accomplished? How? Are you accomplished in the ways that would appeal to a man or accomplished in the ways that would appeal to a woman if she was looking for a man? What are you doing here? So and talented. Talented how? Talented in, I think a guy would truthfully rather have a female who was fantastic at taking care of the home and it was clean and beautiful and you organize those closets like a pro and you take care of the baby because you want to and you're passionate about all those things than someone who was talented as graphics designer. No disrespect to graphic designers, but you know what I'm saying? You're prioritizing things that guys aren't, and then you're sad when you're alone. So it's a huge disconnect, and you've got a growing number of like 39, 38, 40, 41, 42-year-old women who are miserable and alone, and they're like, I can't wrap my head around it because you still won't see that you've been brainwashed. and you've been living in a way that repels instead of attracts the opposite sex. If you like the short clip and want to watch another short clip, click here. Or if you want to watch the full episode, click right here.